Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Closers Podcast. I'm your host, Marco Alvarado. We are recording today on Thursday, the 25th, but you guys will be hearing this on the 26th, which is Friday. I am here today with a very special guest, but before I get to that guest, I just got to say make sure to follow us on Instagram at the Closers Podcast and like our Facebook page at Closers Podcast. That any little bit of support helps. Also, want to just quickly thank Kay Hella for coming on the podcast this past Monday. It was really fun to record that conversation, and it is now probably going to eclipse the Jake Bowen and Carlitos episode as the most listened to podcast that this podcast has ever done. So, very big thank you to him and the support and the promotions that he's put on to help this podcast out a lot. It's really helped, and it's really amazing to see how many people enjoy it. So, without any further ado, my guest today is my mom, Patricia.
Hello. Surprise, everybody.
I know, yeah. You can speak louder.
It's me. It's Mama.
Yeah, it's my mama. Yeah, I just it was just her birthday. She just turned 40.
Ish.
Yeah, it was just her birthday on Tuesday. So I felt like because my dad was on the podcast right before his birthday, I wasn't able to have my mom on before hers. So instead, I'll have it right after. And how are you doing today, Mama? I always ask everybody.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing well today. It's warm out there, but
it is a warm day. Yeah,
I love it.
Who do you think I look more like, you or Papa?
Well, from birth, I've always said you look like me.
That's what I always think too.
Yes.
But everybody tells me you look like your dad.
And you do.
I mean, I do, but like...
You do when you're with him. And when you're with me, you look like me. But when I see you, I see me. I see me a lot.
In what ways?
Well, besides the color of the skin and the gorgeous features.
Thank you. Oh.
No, I see a lot of family members from my mom's side of the family in you. Yeah.
Yeah. So like what features specifically are more your side of the family, and then which ones are more Papa's side?
I think the eyes are my side of the family.
Really?
Your complexion.
I get told my eyes are Papa's side because everyone says me and Zach have the same eyes.
Interesting because I see Zach and your dad the same eyes, which they kind of droop.
Yeah.
Kind of puppy eye.
I don't have puppy eyes?
No, yours are more almond.
Oh.
Considered almond. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Which is kind of like mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way. We got that straightened out. We're at the top of the podcast because you have some stories you want to share, and I'm really excited for you to share them. For everybody that doesn't know my mom personally, most people that do know her personally know this, but not everybody does. So she was born in California, was raised in Mexico, and then came back to California at the age of like 12, right? 13?
8.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
8. And then was basically grew up here.
In the Southern California.
In Southern California.
Went to high school. All my high school years, I went to... I grew up in the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
I loved it over there.
Right.
Did a lot.
Yeah.
And then moved up to Northern California in early 1990s.
Okay. So
mid 1990s. Mm-hmm.
Let's stay in Southern California for a little bit.
Sure.
What did you do? Well, let's not even get into school because I feel like that we've talked a lot about on the podcast with people's just like times in school. I'm just gonna say it. You were a model in Hollywood, right?
The secret's out.
I know, yeah, there's secrets out.
Yes, I did some modeling.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get into that? How did you start doing that?
Well, we're not going to get into the high school part of it, but I was in high school when I became interested in modeling.
Okay. Well, I mean, we can go into that a little bit. We don't have to talk about academics or anything like that.
Well, that's around the age that I became interested in that, because in my high school years, I took sewing class, which I did not know that was one of my strongest skills. I just gravitated to the sewing machines, and I became interested immediately in fashion design, which is something that I was looking forward to achieve. But in and there was some struggles. Sorry, there were some struggles, and fine. So I wasn't able to go to school. So my next best thing was, well, if I can't make fashion, I will model the fashion. And so I started practicing. Believe it or not, I did. I would practice smiling, practice copying poses from magazines. I just immersed myself in that, and then I started getting jobs at in retail stores. And then through that, I started modeling for some of the stores that I worked for, and word got out that someone knew a friend of a friend of a friend who worked in the modeling industry. And so I finally met that person, and she took me under her wing. She wasn't a manager or anything like that, but she actually belonged to a modeling school. And so being under her wing, I went through that modeling school. So I became better at it, got more jobs, more fashion shows is basically what I did. A lot of fashion shows.
And what's like the aura that is within the fashion, like a fashion show? Because you see the reality TV shows like Project Runway and all that stuff, and it's like super dramatic behind the scenes, and everyone's running around naked, and it's just like, is that really how it is, or is it more just like, is it more orderly, or does it really depend on who's running the whole thing?
Well, that's, an upgrade from the shows that I used to do. I was more in the lower end scale, but nonetheless, I did bridal shows. But you know how they have those Bridezilla shows. Well, it was kind of like that in those particular fashion shows. They some of the models just felt they were, I don't know, better. And so they wanted to model off the best gown, the best lingerie, the best everything. And so there would be a little bit of a cat fight, who was going to wear what and why, that type of thing. I honestly didn't care. I just wanted to be on the runway.
So, during that time, were there a lot of Mexican American models in the industry that you know of?
Well, in the industry, yes, but at the level that I was modeling, I had a very hard time selling myself as a Latina.
Oh, really?
Yes,
That's
I
surprising.
did. My features to me are Latina, but to the agencies, I looked African American.
Oh, wow.
And so they would hire me as an African American model. So I did a lot of fashion shows as a African American.
Wow.
Model.
Because the agency wanted you to be portrayed as that.
they were looking for black models, and I was told once by an agency, I went in as a Latina model, and I was told that I was too ethnic.
Wow. Too ethnic?
Whatever that means.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Too ethnic for the 80s.
Too ethnic, yes, in the 80s. And back in the 80s, let's all remember our 80s.
Yeah.
And perm was in.
Yes, they were.
I loved perming my hair, spiral perms. There were many different types of perms.
Yes.
I wore them all. And so, the combination, my curly cues and my features, the color of my skin, I suppose, just sold me as African American. I got more jobs as a black model than a Latina.
Wow.
I can honestly say that I cannot remember working as a Latina ever.
Wow.
In the as a fashion show.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And after a while, I just became lost within myself. I felt, who am I?
Yeah.
If I'm not Latina enough, I'm certainly not black.
Yeah.
So
like at all, yeah.
Yeah. So then who am I?
Yeah. Where do I fit in?
Exactly. And so then I, back in the day also, I used to join a lot of salsa dancing competitions.
Oh, okay.
And, at the clubs and stuff.
Right.
Nothing major on screen or anything. And in one of those clubs, I was approached by a scout for Star Search.
Oh.
Star Search, but in the Latin version, which is called...
You want me to say it? What? Buscando Estrellas.
Buscando Estrellas. I went blank. That's how long it's been. I've not taken those words out of my chest. So I was approached, and that was the first time in my life that I was approached as a Latina model.
Yeah. And
at first, of course, I thought, this guy, he's a liar. What does he want? But turns out, no, he was legit. And I ended up landing a spot on the show as a contestant, as a Latina model.
Wow, so that was the first time that you were perceived as a straight up Latina.
Straight Latina, yeah.
I bet that felt really good.
It felt great because even when I was doing the shows as a black model, I changed my name to fit the image.
Oh, wow.
And so my name is Patricia.
Yeah.
My friends, I grew up with my family calling me Pati. And in school, I was Patty. And for the modeling jobs, my name was Kisse.
Kisse?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
The name was unusual, catchy.
Yeah.
And it just made me stand out. And so I would get the jobs. People would want to say, what? That name? Kisse, what's that?
And they never looked at your ID or anything like that?
No, they never did. No, they never did. Yeah, it's weird.
That is weird.
Yeah. So when I landed the job with Buscando Estrellas, I wanted to be introduced as Pati because that's what I grew up in, and I was proud being Latina, and I was going to be in a Latina show, and it was great. So I wanted to be Pati. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
And
that's also where you met my dad. But that's a story for another podcast.
It is.
But yeah, so being in that industry, being in that realm, that community, whatever you want to call it, in Southern California in the 80s.
In the 80s.
You had to have rubbed elbows with some celebrities.
Oh, yes, I did.
And so who are some of the notable names that you've kind of bumped into? I know them already, but I want you to say them.
Okay, well, I ran into Oscar de la Hoya.
Oh, the golden boy.
Mike Tyson.
Like, did you talk to them or did you just see them around?
No, different situations.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't say that I sat down and talked to every single one.
Yeah.
You know,
But you were just around them.
Yeah, we're talking rubbing elbows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I did some not shows, but I did some jobs for the boxing.
Oh, yeah.
Through Budweiser. Because as a contestant for Buscando Estrellas, through that job, because it was a job, even though I was a contestant, I was hired to be a contestant because they already had a winner.
Right.
And
it's all staged.
It's all staged, yeah. And so through that job, I landed a job with Budweiser as a Bud girl.
Okay.
And through Budweiser is how I became a ring girl for Oscar de la Hoya.
Oh.
And also for other legendary boxers, including Sugar Ray Leonard.
Oh, wow.
And these were shows that I would be the model you see on stage, giving the trophy or handing the envelope or walking the people that are announcing things.
Yeah.
You walk the people out, that kind of job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I did a lot of those kinds of jobs. So, yeah.
So you saw a lot of boxers.
Oh, I saw a lot of boxers, yeah.
Did you ever see Muhammad Ali around or never?
No, never ran into him.
Dang.
I was not that lucky.
What about any other athletes?
Well, yeah, I ran into a couple. I ran into Magic Johnson.
Oh, before, post?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I ran into Scottie Pippen.
Oh, Scottie Pippen.
I did.
Did any of them try to make like moves on you?
Well, not moves per se. Really, they being that. Well, the first two gentlemen that I mentioned were exactly that. They were gentlemen.
Yeah.
They were with. I don't know if they were their significant others. They kept their distance, but the vibes, the eye contact, that whole shebang. But it did not go beyond that. And I wouldn't want to anyways.
Sure.
I really never liked that type of vibe.
Yeah.
I don't want to be seen, never wanted to be seen as the groupie or the fan who follows.
That's a little weird.
But for some reason, I ran into a lot of sports. I don't know why not other genres, because I just love music.
Yeah.
But you didn't
run into any musicians?
I didn't run into any musicians.
Really?
I met people, but they weren't like, known. I just knew of people that were trying to make it in the music business.
But then nobody that's like actually famous.
But nobody.
No, like actors, actresses, nothing like that.
I'm trying to think.
Oh no, Arsenio, right?
Oh yes, Arsenio Hall. Yeah, that was a quick. It was so fast. It was like a strobe light. It was like one strobe light.
Wow.
It was quick, but like I said, it was just rubbing elbows, running into people, and with some people, I was approached, and with some people, they strictly were business, and that was that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did work with some celebrities along the way.
That's interesting.
It was nice. It's nice to think back that I met very interesting people. Even though they don't know me today, or I don't know who they are today other than what I read, if I read about them.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know that I have that in my history.
Yeah, that is cool. Now, you did also run into Mr. Noodle's son, Mr. Noodle from Sesame Street. I remember. I'll never forget that. I saw the picture of you with him when I was like 5, and I was like, "What?" My mom meant Mr. Noodle. My mom meant Mr. Noodle's son, Mr. Noodle. What? But for anybody
those
that
were
doesn't,
the 80s.
for anybody that doesn't know that reference, like just go. I don't know how you had a childhood, but it's a Sesame Street character. But yeah, so you moved in the mid 90s to Northern California. What's like the biggest difference from Southern California to Northern California? Like just do you think the people are different? I got a lot of conflicting reports on this, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I've never asked you this. I don't think so.
It's changed over the years, of course, but when I first moved to Northern California, to me, San Jose was, in my mind, it was a city.
Yeah.
But when I moved there, it felt like I was in country living. It felt slower. It felt more elbow room, if that makes any sense. It just felt more open.
It just feels like it's more, like you said, it's more busy down there than it is up here. But
yeah.
I feel like the people down there are slightly different too. Like the people
nowadays I see the difference. I didn't see it then too much. I really didn't, even after I moved and I would go down to visit the family, that's all I did was just visited the family. So I never really drove around town to, mix myself with my friends or places I used to be. I never really did that. I just strictly went, visited with family, went back to San Jose. So I really never saw that change till much later, probably, maybe after 10, 15 years later, when I started to venture through the valley, taking my mom to the store or something, and then realizing, what happened to this place? What happened to that corner? Oh my God, everything's so cluttered. And then you start to realize, that the pace is definitely fast over there, but crowded. And I don't know. I don't want to say that they're rude because my family is from Southern California, but definitely they're more aggressive.
Yeah.
They are.
That makes sense. Yeah, I see that too, definitely. So we are getting close to the time, but I do want to ask you the same question I asked Papa at the end of his podcast. What advice would you give somebody younger in your experience with your life and everything? Like, what's the one piece of advice you'd give them? I asked them specifically about music, but for you, I mean, you could take that question into specifically modeling or really anything. But what's the one piece of advice you would want young people to follow, heed?
Well, the one thing is, when I was getting into that whole modeling scene, I really tried to change my image to fit what the industry wanted. And that is something that I don't live by today.
Right.
I embrace my aging white hair coming, my wrinkles, and I still desire to venture in the modeling field for seniors. And nowadays it's so much easier to have your image out there through the internet. And it's so easy to change your features through apps and everything. And the reality is that we all are aging, no matter what. No matter how much money you have and you're able to fix up your face. Right. We are still all aging, and we all will age beautifully. And I don't think that changing your image to fit somebody else's way of seeing you,
what they want,
is the way to go. Be true to yourself, come from your heart. If that is a passion of yours, do it as you are. We models come in all shapes and sizes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's my mom.
That's me.
Bravo. You did it. You were on a podcast.
Thank you so much.
That's
this
great,
was a lot of fun.
Great
I was
advice.
so nervous.
I know, she was super nervous.
It's like, what am I going to talk about?
I'm like, oh, come on. Everybody has something to talk about. Great advice from a great woman. And yeah, I'll be back next week when I interview Aaron AA Alvis, my ex-manager from the store that I work at. Some of you might know him, some of you might not, but it's a great conversation. And if you thought this conversation was deep with my mom, that conversation is, I think, a little bit more deep. He talks about, you know, some of the struggles he's faced in his life and what he would do differently, and he gives advice to people too, and just words of wisdom from that guy. So if you want more of this, please make sure to follow us at the Closers Podcast on Instagram and at Closers Podcast on Facebook to listen to that next episode. Also, all of our episodes are now on YouTube, on the YouTube Closers Podcast page. So it's just the Closers Podcast, and you should be able to find them. Every single one is up now, finally. And I'll have more info on the live streams in the coming weeks. Stay tuned and take care. Have a great day.